Hello and welcome back to my channel. My name is Holly and we are continuing on. This is our fourth part video about our recent family vacation to Brazil. I mentioned in the review video that one of our highlights was how great the exchange rate worked out in our favor while we were down there. And in fact, our US dollar was going about 3 times as far as it normally would. So we were getting really great prices on foods and lodging and some shopping. So I wanted to show you all the things that we got while we were down there and products that I would recommend if you are planning a family vacation to Brazil that you consider, or even if you're here in the States and are looking for a quality product from Brazil and you're able to find it here in the US, I would highly recommend these products that we're going to talk about today. We use them pretty much on our daily basis here in our family. Again, that might change for you because we're a multi-national family with my husband being from Brazil. Some of these products would be more novelty to many of you, but are some staples here in our house. So let me just go ahead and jump in and talk about some of the things we found. Probably one of the best known Brazilian products potentially that you've seen already here in the US because they're at malls. If you're a Disney fan like we are, you know Disney Springs has a flagship store, but I'm talking about the Havaianas, which are the Brazilian flip-flops. They are super cute. They did a collaboration with Disney, and these are my sons. They've got, you know, the Fab 5 there on them. Really cute little flip-flops. And just like here in the States, they'll have spring lines and summer lines, and so their inventory constantly changes as there's so many cute things for the whole family. So these are kind of their classic ones with the little Brazilian flag. So I got these while we were there. And then again, I mentioned we are Mickey and Minnie Mouse lovers, so my mother-in-law treated me to a new pair of Minnie flip-flops. I love red, and these are great because I had just thrown away my other Disney pair. They had just kind of, after several years of wear, were just starting to get kind of dingy and old. My husband got a pair. We're going to be doing a Disney cruise here in the spring, so these nautical themed ones are perfect. And last but not least, our little Vivian, the smallest member of the family. She's just 1.5. She got these tiny little baby Havaianas. They're so cute. They're Ariel. And for the little ones, they come with this really soft elastic strap in the back to keep the flip-flop on their foot. So these are just adorable with the little shell detail and Ariel. So yeah, highly recommend this product if, like I said, you're a Disney fan and you're down in the Disney Springs area. Havaianas has a great shop there and has a lot of the Disney collection. Of course they would. So definitely check them out. They're very comfortable, durable flip-flops, and they've become, I think, one of Brazil's probably most kind of like pop culture well-known exports is the Havaiana flip-flops. And they were less than $20 a pair. In fact, because of the exchange rate, I was getting them about 12 US dollars, so not too much more expensive than like an Old Navy flip-flop, but extremely good quality. Like I said, the only reason I threw out my last pair was just because they had started to get dingy, but they had not come apart, they had not broke, the strap had not, broken out, so they were really good buy, I think. So in that same vein, for shoes, in general, Brazil has fantastic quality of shoes. So it's something when we go there that I end up buying a few pairs of shoes and bringing home because they're significantly more comfortable than the shoes I find here. They use, all natural products like leather and suede and cork. They don't use plastics in their footwear. Once I started getting on to how comfortable these shoes are, I really think they're worth the price. Let me just show you a couple of my most recent finds. These are a pretty high heel for me. You can see it's got this rattan on them. It's a very comfy footbed, cushy, comfy footbed, all made of this beautiful kind of caramel color, camel color suede. But even though it is a very tall shoe, it's extremely comfortable for me because of how well the sole is designed and how cushioned. And like I said, the entire interior of the shoe is leather, so there's no pinching, there's no plastic. So worth every penny, I would say, if you're in Brazil, or if you come across a Brazilian brand being sold here in the US, definitely look into it. It's possible you'll find, like me, that these are some of the most comfortable shoes you'll ever own, and they're quality shoes. They're not shoes you toss out at the end of the season. They're ones that you can, wear again and again. Another pair from a brand I really love in Brazil is the Mr. Cat. Again, these are kind of a summer wedge shoe with the beautiful cork detail, a very comfy elastic strap here, and then I just want to try to show you how comfy this footbed is. But it's super cushioned, super soft. It's Mr. Cat, and I think they do have a US website where you can find them here in the States, so I really recommend them. I'm going to bring these along on our Disney cruise, and we'll wear them again and again. Extremely comfortable, well-made shoes. It doesn't just apply for women. For kids, we usually stock up for kids when we're down there too, because they have some of the most classic, sweet these are little boys sandals, all leather, with little buckle, and there's no plastic here. The little cushy footbed, you can see, has some softness to it, a rubber sole, and they're a very popular little brand of sandals. So we get sandals for both kiddos. Even Vivian this last time got some church shoes because her foot is a little harder to fit here in the US. She's got a pretty chunky little foot. So Havaianas, which are a brand, like a category all their own, and then just shoes in general. If you need a good quality pair of shoes, especially for us ladies, if you're looking for a high heel shoe, they have some of the most comfortable high heels I've ever worn, and the quality holds up year after year. The final thing in footwear that I'll talk to you about is these kind of yoga socks. I have not seen anything quite like them in the US, but Brazil has a ton of gyms, but they're kind of like neighborhood gyms, and they're not going to have a lot of that heavy, weightlifting equipment. It's more like Pilates and yoga and stretching and body resistance and things of that nature. So because of that, they seem to have a ton of these type of yoga socks that are really brightly colored and have different fun prints. They've got a grippy sole and an elastic band, to kind of keep them on. And this is the brand Puckett that I love, and my mother-in-law always brings me some when she comes, which I just adore because they're great for around the house. We have lots of hardwood floors here. And then I once upon a time did go to a Pilates studio full-time. I had like a monthly membership and went a lot, and these were perfect for that. So here are some of the pairs that I got. This one has like little fruit on it, and you can kind of see up here, these are actually scented. So this one smells like watermelon, and then I got this pair with little ice creams and things on it, and these are also scented. This is a strawberry scented, so they smell great. The smell of course fades after a little bit of time, but the quality of the sock lasts and lasts and lasts. I brought these in my hospital bag when I was giving birth to both of our kiddos, because of course you need to have that non-slick sock, and the ones they give you at the hospital are not very fashionable. So I brought those in my hospital bag. I highly would recommend them if you're into yoga, or even if you just need like a little house slipper. They come in all shapes and sizes for the whole family. Here was one for Sawyer. This was like I think they had a Halloween line, so it's got little vampire bats. Also the grippies. My son especially, he always has seems to have cold feet, or runs a little bit colder than my daughter, and so he loves these. Vivi is my barefoot baby, so she resists shoes and socks of all kinds. So I'm still working on getting her to leave these on, but they have such cute little, little detailing. This was a little bird. And these are also scented. This smells like, I think, baby powder. So Puckett, if you can find them here in the States on Amazon. If I can find them, I'll link them for you. Otherwise, if you're ever traveling to Brazil and you see these, sometimes the airport stores, they have one in the airport. So check them out. I highly recommend these little socks. And I promise you I'm moving on from footwear. Some of the other things we bought for the family that we would recommend are Brazil's pretty famous for their Soapstone products. And I'll show you a couple things that we got. we got this really nice coaster set made of soapstone. It's very heavy. You can see the natural stone here. It changes colors if it gets wet. And you know, it will scuff and scratch, but it just kind of adds to the uniqueness of it. And so it's just a full coaster set here of, you know, things for cans or things to, you know, it's just a coaster set. But it's made of the beautiful Brazilian soapstone, so it makes a nice souvenir or something for the house to remember your trip. Along those lines, we got a large mortar and pestle. We make fresh guac here. This also works for muddling if we're making a specialty cocktail or something. It's a large, deep one with its own little pestle. So again, this is something that you could use as a display piece in your kitchen or on a shelf, but it also gets practical use in our house because we love some guacamole. So this is something we pull out and it reminds us of our trip, and we are able to get some practical use out of it too. Plus, it's just a very unique product made from the Brazilian soapstone. Another thing that we love to buy when we're there, because as I mentioned, we're, you know, a bilingual, multicultural household. We are trying to introduce the kids to Dad's native language, which is Portuguese, which is what Brazil, country Brazil speaks, their national language. And so that can be hard to find the right products here in the US for little ones. Amazon certainly has a few options, but we always try to stock up on kid books and kid kind of like language learning products when we're down in Brazil. So I'll show you a couple of those things that we got. This is one of them. It's a giant book, Palavras, which is words in Portuguese. And the kids love it. You know, it's a big picture book with flaps, and it has sentences and words. And it helps Mom too, because I'm not fluent in it at all. My husband and I have been married for 8.5 years now, so I've picked up some. Early in our marriage, I did a Rosetta Stone course. But honestly, all that really helped me do was kind of reprogram my brain from not putting a Spanish accent on everything that I was seeing, because it does sound much different than Spanish. So these books are good for me too, because I'm able to help them and practice my words as well. So when my mother-in-law and my father-in-law speak to me, they don't speak a lot of English and I don't speak a lot of Portuguese. I'm able to understand a few more of the things they're saying. So these kind of picture books with words and phrases are extremely helpful for keeping kiddos familiar, you know, with terms and just the sound that the words make, because they are different. So we love this one, especially Palavras. And then my little one seems to like this little kind of cutesy one with the bunny and the raccoon better. Again, it's the same Palavras. We have 1,000 of these word books in English, but they're hard to find them in Portuguese, obviously, here in the States. So these work out great. This one's got, you know, things around the house and things in the yard. And they're bright and colorful, and they keep the kids entertained. They have little flaps. So just a lot of really cute books. And I highly recommend, you know, if that's your situation where you're trying to teach your kiddos a second language when you're in country, to stock up on kids books. They'll be cheaper there for sure and have a much greater variety. Another thing I didn't start buying from Brazil, but now I really use, are some kind of toiletries and beauty products. I'll show you a few of the things my mother-in-law started gifting me, and now I buy for myself when we go down there. They have this store called Natura, which is I don't know, maybe it's similar to like their Bath and Body Works, because it has all these household soaps and shampoos and lotions and moisturizers. So this was a set my mother-in-law bought for us, and I want to show you the detail and why these make a great gift. These are soaps, and you can see hopefully you can see some of the detail on these soaps. They are beautiful, all have a different scent. They try to use natural fragrances that are common to Brazil, and so we always stock up and get some Brazilian soaps when we go down. My husband loves bar soap. I kind of like liquid more, but these last a long time. They're made of, you know, natural vegetable oil and scented with natural fragrances, so they're not really flowery or perfumey, but they just have a nice clean scent. So we come back sometimes with boxes of soap. They're very affordable, but they also make a great gift, or kind of a unique gift to give to friends and family if you did a Brazil trip. And that same line, the Natura line, they make these, sorry, that's pretty bright. They make these lotions, kind of like a hand cream, a foot cream, and they smell so good. I have one open here. It comes in this kind of like shiny metal tube, so it's good for recycling. And it just smells so good. I use it at night before I, crawl in bed, put some on my feet especially. And in Brazil, of course, you wear flip-flops and sandals a lot, so pedicures and lotions and things for feet and for your hands are very popular, and I have never found a scent quite like this here in the US. It's got a cocoa smell to it, which is obviously another famous export of Brazil, is its cocoa. And the final toiletry I will just briefly talk about, because I could go on and on. I found this when we were down there in October. It's actually a funny story, because I had just gotten a new deodorant before we left. I had seen some ads on Facebook or something about how deodorant with antiperspirant is bad for us because, it's got aluminum and it clogs your pores. And so I don't know what possessed me, but I was like, oh, I'm gonna try, an all natural deodorant. So I bought one, and it seemed to be working fine here in the US, but again, it was October. And by the time we got to Brazil, and it is blazing hot, and we've been running through the airport and on 3 or 4 flights, it was terrible. That deodorant, it did not stand a chance. It did not stand a chance. So I told my husband, I was like, this is kind of embarrassing, but when we get to your mom's house, I need to go to the drugstore and buy some deodorant, because what I brought is not going to cut it in this tropical climate. So we told my mother-in-law, and she ended up actually having a box of this cream deodorant. Let's see if I can get it close enough. It's again that Natura line, and it is a cream base, which I had never heard of. I've seen the roll-on, and of course we have the solid sticks here in the US, and sometimes you see a gel. But this is a cream-based deodorant, so you can kind of see this bottle is clear, so you can see the product in it. And it goes on like a lotion. It has kind of like a tip like this, and you squeeze out a little bit and rub it around, and the cream absorbs pretty seamlessly, and I love it. I have not had any trouble. I did not have any trouble while I was down there. It seemed to work like a charm. It has a very light, just kind of like a powder scent, but I would highly recommend. I got a couple different types of this. The store that we went into, the mall, had a buy 2 get 1 free, so I think I'm stocked up on deodorant now for the year at least. But if you see a product like this in the US, cream deodorant, again, wasn't very familiar with it, and I probably would never have tried it if my mother-in-law hadn't had some on hand and I needed it so badly. But I really do love it. Like I said, I brought home 4 boxes of it, so I'm stocked now for quite a while, and I mean, it sounds silly to say the deodorant has changed my life, but it certainly is a product I would have never tried before, and now I probably will try nothing else. Like, I love this cream deodorant so much, and highly recommend. If I can find a counterpart to it here in the US on Amazon, I will link it below. But if you're ever in Brazil and you want to check out that Natura store in the malls, I have a lot of products I recommend. The hand cream and foot cream, the deodorant, and then any of their beautiful kind of like natural soaps are great too for having around the house or for giving away as gifts. Okay, so that's household and shoes and footwear. Books, and now I'm moving on to the last category, which is food. Food souvenirs are some of my favorite souvenirs to bring home, and Brazil has a lot of really good options. Probably their most common, most famous is their coffee. They obviously, just like a lot of South American countries, have a great coffee export business, and this is just the the normal product that you would get in a Brazilian grocery store. They have several different flavors. This is an extra strong or extra forte, but they're really, really, really good quality coffees and very affordable. I want to say this was $3. We always buy dozens of packs to give away as gifts and just kind of keep in the house in our pantry, but then I also try to buy some to give away for Christmas gifts and things like that to neighbors and teachers and friends, because it just makes a great gift. It's very simple. They don't have a lot of heavy flavored coffees like we have here in the US, but the quality really comes out, and it's an excellent gift. Some more food items that we would recommend. Another thing they're famous for is the Pao de Queijo. See if the glare kind of, there you go. Pao de Queijo, which is the Brazilian cheese bread. And this has started to become popular here in the US because it's made with yucca root, cassava flour, and that's a lower in carbohydrates and gluten-free. So that's kind of become a thing here in the US. If you are a Disney fan, as I've mentioned a couple times, the Pao de Queijo for the Food and Wine Festival, I think people just call it, the colloquial name was the Brazilian cheese bread, but it's a very popular item at the Food and Wine Festival at Epcot in the fall. So we love it. Our kids love it. Sawyer especially could eat 3 or 4 of these rolls. So we try to bring these mixes back. Along with cooking, we always bring home some spices. So here's a couple of different brands. This is the chimichurri variety. And then this one is onion, parsley, and garlic. And this is just a great seasoning blend that we add to our soups and chicken and stews and things like that here. My husband loves to cook and is a great cook. So having some of the ingredients and spices that he's familiar with is great to have here in our house and on hand. So we would recommend bringing some of those things home for your kitchen. Along those lines, we use these awesome, my father-in-law actually showed us these. He eats a lot of chicken, and so these are kind of like their version of bake in a bag, but it has all the spices you need, and then it comes with a bag to toss everything in there with some chicken legs or chicken thighs, and have a well-seasoned poultry dish. So we bought, I don't know, maybe even 20 of those and a couple of the spice mixes to bring home to keep in our kitchen for when we're doing some Brazilian cooking. The final thing for food, and the final food souvenir in general, is the always delicious Dulce de Leche. You can find this here in the US. I think Williams & Simona has it. So I will link what products I can find for you below. But Dulce de Leche can be quite expensive here in the US because it is an imported product, and it is kind of like a gourmet product. But when you are able to find it in country, definitely bring some home. It is delicious. This can go in cakes, this can go on cupcakes, on cookies. I like to put a scoop of it, like instead of fudge in a sundae or an ice cream. When my husband makes some brigadeiro, which is the Brazilian little candies for parties, and you can do a Dulce de Leche version with this. So there's a lot of uses for it, and it is, if you've never had Dulce de Leche, it's a really difficult flavor to describe, but it's very creamy and rich. It's got a consistency of like velvety hot fudge. But it's thick. So it's definitely a Brazilian product that if you've not had it, you should look into getting it. And like I said, it's as simple as just adding a scoop to your ice cream. It's so good. So this is a giant can of it that we bought to keep in our house, in our pantry for the coming year, when we make some Brazilian desserts or we have some ice cream. But so those are my Brazilian finds. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you are going to Brazil, these are things to look into for bringing back for friends or family, or for just for yourself to enjoy when you're home. I hope that it was helpful. I know some of these items might be difficult to find here in the US, but if I'm able, I will link them below so you're able to check them out. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. My YouTube channel is still pretty new, so any kind of feedback, whether it's liking the video or subscribing, means a lot to me. Comments are super appreciated and I will read all of those. I would love to know what your favorite Brazilian souvenir was, or what you would most like to try. So let me know that in the comments, and I hope you have a wonderful day, and we will talk soon. Bye bye.